We are live. Let's get ready to podcast.
Fire it up.
Welcome back to another live and amplified Indie Fusion podcast. I'm your host, Tom Quiet, and we're back at it again with another amazing podcast. Today, we have a very special guest joining us. We have Taylor Harris. How's it going?
Going good, man. Going good. How about you?
Oh, it's warming up in Texas. We're supposed to be in the 80s, so I'm excited for the weekend.
Ooh-wee. Yeah, it's like probably 40 degrees here right now.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm so good. So how's Nashville been treating you?
It's been really good. It's been really good. The artist support is really different here compared to Louisiana, where I'm from.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean,
I feel that. Whereabouts in Louisiana are you from?
so I was living like around Baton Rouge,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm originally from a very, very small town called Grant, Louisiana.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So I did an internship with a girl that was from Belrose, Louisiana,
Mm-hmm.
and I almost took a job in Lafayette.
Yeah.
So those are like my two extents to Louisiana that I'm like, I could say these two names and people might know what they mean. So,
Yeah.
but so how long have you been in Nashville at this point?
Since December 24th.
Okay. So fresh new into
Pretty
Nashville.
new. Yeah, pretty new.
And you moved there specifically for music?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Oh, awesome. And I take it you had mentioned that the support is so much different than Louisiana, but I would take it you're enjoying your time there?
I am. The only thing that's a little different is paying gigs are a lot harder to come by.
Fair.
Than in Louisiana. Louisiana I had 2 every week, sometimes 3 I was booked. And up here, man, it's slow going. I've got a couple of them, but it's you gotta really dig for them. You really gotta dig for them.
I hear all the paying gigs are on Broadway, and that's a grind.
Yeah, and Broadway is just not really for me. I don't think. It's just like most of the time you're playing 4 hours.
Yep.
And the pay scale is really slim for those 4 hours. And
Yep.
I mean, I don't know. Do you play guitar?
Nope.
4 hours is a long time on your fingers.
Oh yeah. I've been I've had a lot of people that tell me horror stories about the Broadway boot camp or whatever clever names they give it. And so I had somebody on the podcast last night that's told me she used to do triples on Broadway. So like 4 hour sets on like a Saturday. And I'm like, at that point, that doesn't even sound fun. That just sounds like a freaking nightmare.
Exactly. And that's what it really comes down to. Like, I came here for exposure. So it's not like I came for the money, but like, you at least need to be compensated for your time. And not only that, but like have a good crowd that's not slobbering drunk listening to you.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you've ever been on Broadway, but I mean, it gets rowdy. It's pretty lit. And I really just don't know if the quality, of your playing, like, if it really matters as so much as you're just playing what they want to hear,
Yeah. That is definitely one of the things. I was one of my friends shared a video of a girl that I had on the podcast a couple of years ago, and she's been out on tour with like Keith Urban, and like she's doing really big things.
Mm-hmm.
And she's sitting there playing the fiddle. She got asked to come up on stage and play "The Devil Went Down to Georgia" because that's kind of like what she was known for a while. And there's like just 3 homeless dudes drinking beer sitting out on Broadway over there. And I'm just sitting there, I'm like, that doesn't even look like the kind of crowd that you want to be doing that in front of. Like, it's just slobbering drunk people all over the place. So,
yeah. And I don't really know, like, so, I mean, obviously I have a lot to learn, but like, I think your location of where you're playing and getting the most exposure possible out of that little bit of time is really key. I mean, they always say you get lucky, but really it's being in the right place at the right
Mm-hmm.
time and
Mm-hmm.
meeting the right folks,
Oh yeah.
and I just don't think Broadway's it for me. I don't think
No.
that's where I'm supposed to be,
No, for sure.
Oh,
And I mean, there's definitely paying gigs in Nashville. It's just if they're really good pay, they're usually a residency and somebody already has that. So,
mm-hmm. Well, and there's so many people trying to do the same
yeah.
thing. So, like, your resume just tends to get lost in the stack that's sitting there. And, I mean, these people, even like restaurants, just everyday bar and grills, like they see so many people come through. They're like, well, what's special about you?
Right.
Well, you don't know till you give me a chance. So, kind of give me a
Yeah.
chance, and once you get your foot through the door, okay, now you're getting booked every month.
Yeah.
But I mean, I found two places and I really like playing. I'm playing one of them this weekend, but one of the others, man, I got the gig and I showed up and dude, it was smoking in there. Like it was a really bad smoker's bar and I'm pregnant, and
Yeah.
I'm like, oh no. And I'm not gonna like ditch the gig. I mean, I've signed
Yeah.
up for it, I'm gonna play it. But like I asked them if they could leave the door open. So it's like, oh, I don't know
Yeah.
if I'm gonna be able to play that, till after I have the baby.
Yeah.
And I was coughing the whole next day. So I was like,
Oh,
maybe,
oh yeah.
maybe just ain't for me.
Right.
But
Right. Right.
you just got to keep beating them doors down, man. I mean, if you saw my call log, I've called about, 20, 30 places, in the last couple of days, just,
Mm-hmm.
knocking on that door. Hey, you remember me? I reached out to you last month. You got to
Yeah.
get this month.
Right. And it's one of those things where, especially, I'm sure it's really bad in Nashville where they're probably booked out for the next 6 to 9 months.
Yeah.
And so it's like you got to start thinking about like 2026 already and just hope that somebody has something open and,
No, I
so.
haven't looked for any paying gigs in Nashville. I've done the surrounding towns,
Mm-hmm.
just because I feel like your chances of getting something a little bit better. And from what I've found in my calling and people reaching out to me, and the closer you get to Nashville, the worse the pay is.
Yeah.
And the further you get away, you get a little bit more pay. And so that's kind of where I'm at now. But like I said, I came for the exposure. I didn't come for the money. So,
Yeah.
I'm taking it any way I can get it.
That's fair. That's very fair. You do what you got to do to make it work. So,
Yeah.
so you've been in Nashville now since December. Um, ha- were you, I take it you were recording music before you even got to Nashville then at this point, right?
Yes. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Where are you kind of at creatively right now? I know you released an album last year.
Mm-hmm.
Are you working on anything right now? Where are you kind of at creatively right now?
So I'm definitely writing.
Hmm.
I actually just wrote one yesterday. I think it's really good. But my next goal is to be able to like really make a good single, like to
Hmm.
put it out, let it have all the bells and whistles on it. Because like my last EP was really good. It was my first studio recording.
Hmm.
Everything else that's been on Spotify has been me doing it in a bathroom and running it through BandLab kind of deal. So that was my first, somebody knew what they were doing when they recorded
Hmm.
me. It's just basic, acoustic recordings. Every now and then a little bit of, a session player would get on, but so my next goal is to really get a good professional single put out there,
Nice.
and recorded in Nashville. So the best I can get, the best I can
Yeah.
afford.
Right.
So just kind of working on the funds on that. Trying to save up for that. Something better than I had before.
Right. 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 And it's one of those things where it's like all it takes is one good single. Like especially this day and age with Spotify, I'd rather have somebody that's like, you know what, and being honest with themselves, saying, okay, I could put one really good effort into a single and give it a little bit of a budget to promote it, all that stuff, than somebody that tries to force out 6, 7, 8 singles in a year, but they have no promotion behind it because they spent all their money on production.
Yeah.
You know, so like I think just kind of getting that first single is actually a really solid move, especially when you're really just still kind of getting your feet wet in Nashville. So
Yeah. So that's the goal. I don't want to bite off more than I can chew.
yeah,
So yeah, so one single. I got to just decide which one I want to do though. I have a lot of songs that I haven't recorded. I have, I mean, not even a quarter of my songs are put out,
hmm
for people to listen to. And it can get a little overwhelming because it's like you want to put all your stuff out there because, one song might touch a certain group of people
yeah,
and another song will touch a whole nother group of people.
right,
But one thing at a time, and I got another baby on the way and, just so much going on. So I gotta watch my monies.
fair. I get you. I 100% get you. And I mean, it's also one of those things where you could also go back and do like a solo acoustic deal. Like, I mean, and you don't even have to like go through like professionally recording and releasing that. Like all that stuff's relatively easy
Mm-hmm.
to record. Like if you've got music that you feel like would work in that kind of aesthetic and a setting,
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of musicians kind of overthink the process of recording where they think, oh, we got to go to a studio, we got to go do
Mm-hmm.
these things. Sometimes all you got to do is call in a favor and be like, hey, you got a mic and a mixer. Can we do this really quick?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and I mean, some of my songs that I've written, I honestly don't want any more on them than just a simple acoustic, recording. Because
hmm
some songs you do too much and you've ruined it.
yeah,
And actually had a buddy of mine ask me the other day if I would listen to a song and tell me what I thought was off about it. And he said, I just don't like it, but I don't know what it is that I don't like. So I listened to it and I didn't get more than 30 seconds in and I knew what was off about it. I said, you got too much going on your verses. It takes away from the beauty of your voice.
hmm
And he was like, oh my gosh, I think that's it. I said, I think I've got too much on it. And
hmm
sometimes less is more.
100%. I had to tell a friend of mine that I was because they were trying to they're a very talented singer where they could do all these like fancy runs and like all these elongated notes and all these things. And she was wondering why nobody was like connecting with the song. And it's like this song is a straightforward ABCD song. You don't need to do all these fancy like all that shit. You don't need to
Mhm,
do that. Your voice is already powerful as is.
mhm,
Just pull it back. And I don't think they're gonna go and re-record it or anything, but just kind of along the same vein as what you were saying, it's like sometimes you don't need all the extra stuff.
mhm. I mean,
So
just think about Willie Nelson. I mean, like he doesn't have, this super amazing voice, but it's unique in his own way. And all of his songs are very storytelling.
hmm
And I think they complement each other really well. And if he was trying to sing those songs that were so intricate with the storytelling and have such a eloquent voice, it would probably just get lost.
hmm
But it works for him. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So growing up in Louisiana, were you always kind of around music? Did you grow up in a musical family? How'd you kind of get introduced to music?
So my dad played the guitar. My dad was a pastor, and we didn't have a piano player at the time, so he would acoustically, do all the hymns.
hmm
And it wasn't long after watching him. I was 12. I was like, man, I really kind of want to dabble in that.
Yeah.
I want to. So he showed me my first three chords, G, C, and D, and he was like, here, you run with this. Once you get these down, I'll show you some more. And I just took off with it. I instantly started writing, music, and I started off in the church, and we kind of got to a point where it was like, okay, well, there's not really any more avenues to try here. It
Yeah.
was such a small town, and that's what kind of happened is I kind of just let go of that. And I didn't move away from that really small town till I was 18.
Hmm.
So like I was writing, I wrote a ton of songs from 12 to like 16, 17 years old and then just stopped.
Yeah.
Just and I went like it was like 10 years, man. I didn't write nothing. I went on with life. I got married and I went to beauty school and became a hairdresser. But like even at that time when I wasn't trying to want to be famous, I had a reputation at beauty school for singing down the hallways because the acoustics were so good.
Yeah.
I'd be going to the bathroom and I'd sing down the hallway, and to this day, if you said my name, they would know who you were talking about. And it was about 4 years ago.
Hmm.
I was sitting on the couch, and my mama had brought a pack of songs. It had dust all over it from what I had written when I was 16. And she brought them up. She was like, "Here, I just thought maybe you'd want them. They were from the old house." So I just ripped the package open and started playing one of the songs that I'd wrote. And my husband was in his study, and he came out. He said, "Whose song is that? I've never heard that song." And I was like, "Baby, don't you remember? I wrote that." And he was like, "What?" He said, "Well, why in the hell aren't you playing it anywhere?"
Hmm.
And that was just all my little seed that was in my heart needed was just a little bit of water. And then I went on a spree, man. I beat every door down in Louisiana I could get to. And my first few gigs I played free. I played for tips. And actually played at walk-ons.
Nice.
Walk-ons never offered live music. And but they hired me because, man, I was like, man, this good. Like I was trying to sell it so hard.
Right.
And fast forward, I played everywhere I could, played in some different states, and here I am.
Nice. 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 Now, was it always the intent, like once you really got into it, to go to Nashville, or did you give thought to come out here towards like Texas and whatnot?
So at one point, I did think about Texas just because I like the more Texas country.
Hmm.
Um, but I was taking trips. I was taking trips to Nashville, and at first, I didn't even think about moving. I mean, I've been in Louisiana my whole life, so I was like, you never know. I guess I did have hope that maybe I could possibly meet somebody in a bar one night. But I started coming up here and taking trips, just like we'd come up for a week and I'd play anywhere I could get in. And I just started to realize, like, man, like this is a different class of folks up here. This is different up here,
Hmm.
and I'm gonna. And there's the saying goes, iron sharpens iron. It's not a competition,
Yeah.
but a little bit of rivalry is good.
Hmm.
A little bit of, well, they wrote it this way. I mean, what's stopping me from being able to write a song that way?
Yeah.
And eventually, I don't know. I was just standing at the sink one day and I just told my husband, I said, "Man, if I'm really going to try this, I'm not getting any younger. I wasted a lot of time, not doing anything with it." I said, "I think we're really going to have to move."
Hmm.
And this was right before I ended up having my baby, my first baby. And he was a very supportive spouse. He was like, "Well, let's freaking do it. Let's
Yeah.
go. What we gonna do?"
Right.
Because he is originally from Arizona, so he's
Okay.
been all kinds of different places. He's born in New Mexico, so
Nice.
he's got a wandering spirit, I guess you could say. And we drove up through here and we just loved it. It was just so pretty. We're in a town like right outside of Nashville. But I just say Nashville because nobody
Yeah.
knows where it's at. But
Right. Well, and if like a lot of people, Nashville is so freaking expensive that unless you're pulling back six figures, you
yeah.
can't afford to live there. So,
Well, and what we really wanted was we wanted a couple acres because, back where I grew up, I had horses, we had cows. I kind of wanted to get back to that because, man, I wrote so many songs just living that kind of lifestyle.
yeah.
When you're living, I mean, you're living what you're writing about. If you're writing about blue collar stuff, well, I really hope you blue collar and you're writing about that. You're not
Right.
just making up shit, you
Right.
know. But no, it's really what I'm living. So it's what I'm writing about.
Right. So I have to ask this question because you said it and my ears perked up a little bit. Where in New Mexico is your husband from? Or
I believe he was born in Albuquerque.
okay, gotcha. I
His
lived in
his stepdad was in the army, so it was on a
okay.
base.
Okay, so it was either Albuquerque or Alamogordo.
I think
One
it's
of those.
Albuquerque. Yeah.
Yeah. I lived in New Mexico for about 4 years, so and it's one of those few things that not a lot of people claim New Mexico or say they're from New Mexico. So whenever it happens, it's just like, ooh, something in
Yeah.
common. So,
Yep.
but no, that's really cool. Um, so you moved from your hometown and you moved to Baton Rouge and then Nashville?
Yeah, I had been living in Baton Rouge for the last, I don't know, 7, 8 years.
Hmm.
And then we moved here in
Okay.
December. Hmm.
Gotcha. Now, did the pandemic screw with any of that stuff, or was it all, was your music kind of spawned from the pandemic?
Um, I think it was, remember, I don't remember.
It's so weird because the pandemic's been, feels like a lifetime ago at this point, but
I think it was like right after the pandemic.
okay.
I really started pushing with it because yeah, I don't remember trying to get gigs. I think it was right after it. So
Fair.
it's just been about 4 years, you know.
Nice. That's nice. So, are you doing any of the writers rounds in Nashville?
Absolutely, yes, yes. That's mostly what I do in Nashville is the writer rounds.
How are how have those been going? Like, are you playing? Where are you playing? Because I guess those don't happen on Broadway that much, right?
Oh, I don't really think so. I mean, they have some like Music Row and on the cusp of
Yeah.
Broadway. I played a place on Broadway the other day, Jimmy's Burger Grill or something like that. It's right there
Got
on Broadway. But
yeah.
um I personally had didn't really care for that as much as I like being on Live Oak Nashville is over
Hmm.
there. They're a really dope place. I played there on a Sunday the last time I played. Bro, that was so crazy. You wouldn't think that it would be that popping on a Sunday.
Oh,
But man, it was packed. And my last song I played, I have a part of the song where it's acoustic. Like I stop playing and I just like kind of hammer my
hmm.
guitar. The whole place was clapping. It
Nice.
was so amazing. It was such a cool experience. So, but yeah, I'm definitely hitting that up. I've met some really incredible artists that way. I actually did my first co-write with two artists off of a round that I played. I played
Nice.
at Live Oak Nashville. It was on a Tuesday night or something. But one of the people that I wrote with, he was on American Idol.
Nice.
It was
Yeah.
really freaking cool. And he asked me if I would be down to write with him, and I was like, okay, cool. So I went to follow because I follow everybody that I play with normally. I go and I
Mhm.
follow them, just support them, and they normally follow me back, and so on and so forth. And so I clicked on his page, and because I kept thinking, man, I've seen this guy somewhere. I've seen him somewhere.
Mhm.
And his stuff was really good. I really liked it. It was very southern rocky outlaw
Yeah.
country kind of vibe. And I looked him up. I was like, that's where I saw him. I saw him on freaking television.
Hmm.
What the heck? And I just really felt honored. And it was my first time co-writing with anybody. So it was him and another little girl that I wrote with.
Nice.
And
I
we come up with a pretty cool song. It's called You Make Do.
Nice. Now, is that something that like whose song, or will you guys kind of just figure that out as that goes? Like,
So it's just like it's everybody's song.
mhm.
We're all gonna get an equal share of it.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if I'll ever try to do anything recording it wise, just because I enjoyed writing the song, but don't think I'm the best singer for it.
Mm.
I really like the way he sung it, and he has like a deeper, raspier voice, and then the other little girl, she has a really high voice,
Yeah.
and I'm like in the middle ground. I was like, y'all can do that. Y'all sound amazing. I really
Mhm.
appreciate the experience,
Mhm.
but for me, I don't know if it's the right song for my kind of voice. So,
Right.
but,
Fair.
um, but, again, glad for the opportunity.
Right. And like being self-aware to the point where you realize like, hey, I enjoyed the opportunity, but this song isn't for me. Like it won't, I don't think it fits me, but y'all have fun with it and just think, that's really cool. So,
So
um, so how often are you, so now that you're in Nashville, are you trying to get into more, like co-writes and stuff like that as well? Or is that something you're still trying to get used to?
so I've had a lot of people ask me to co-write, and it's really hard for me because I'm on the fence about it. I understand why it's important because once again, iron sharpens iron.
Mm-hmm.
And it really it provides a leg up for artists because say I write this song with these two people. American Idol guy goes and really makes it. He's already making it.
Mm-hmm.
But he goes and he records that song and makes a lot of money. I'm gonna make money.
Yeah.
And if he gets a leg up, I get a leg up kind of deal.
Yeah.
But the thing of it is for me, and I've been writing for years by myself, and it's very personal to me. And I feel like I've wrote the best songs by myself. And it's hard for me to want to. I mean, I want to do it to a certain extent, but I don't think I'm ever going to be one of those artists that can just
Do it.
go write all these songs with all
Yeah.
these people. I just don't think that's for me.
Right. Well, because it's one of those things where it, yes, it's a good opportunity. You get to like mingle and meet new people and, try new things, but it's also an investment of your time. So, like, let's say you go do a co-write that lasts an hour, 2 hours, whatever it is, and you come up with the song and you realize like, oh, hey, this isn't a song that I could really record because it doesn't work for my voice or whatever. That could have been an hour or 2 hours that you were working on your own music. So it's like a really big give and take of what are you getting out of it?
Well, and I was really surprised because, like, I think of inspo on songs that I want to write, and I'll jot them down in my notes app.
Mm-hmm.
I don't always write them as soon as I think about them.
Mm-hmm.
I can go and pull out of that archive when I'm like down and maybe I want to write a song, but I hadn't been able to think about anything. So I kind of had that list going with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, because I really just didn't know, like, what's the process? How do people co-write? I don't know. So, and then I'm walking up the stairs to go to this girl's apartment where we're going to do the writing at. And the little guy, he helps me get my luggage out, my guitar case, because I had my baby with me. So I had my toddler. I was going to this co-write for the first time. And he asked me how I was doing, and we just kind of was talking as we were walking up the steps. And I said, I was just telling him because I'm pregnant and I have a baby, and I was just telling him, like, you just kind of make do. You kind of just do the best you can,
Mm-hmm.
and not beat yourself up too bad. You can only do what you can do. And we get up there, and we're talking to the little girl, and she's like, "Okay, so what's our topic?" And the little guy says, "Well, Taylor gave us our topic. We're gonna make do. You make do." And
Mm-hmm.
so, like, it was just such a random kind of deal, but just a statement that I said stuck out to him as, okay, that's a good song topic.
Mm.
And that's kind of how it progressed. So it's interesting, that people can glean, something out of just a simple conversation.
Right. Right. It's like the most unimportant thing you say could just spark the greatest idea in the world.
Well, and it's a fresh mind. It's somebody else's way of thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I've thought of everything I could think of to write. Somehow I dig it out another thing, but I've gleaned a lot of inspiration off of talking with other people. I'm a hairdresser by day, so I talk to a lot of people and a lot of drama in the salon, and women are going through stuff, and I've wrote songs, about stuff that I've heard. I mean, obviously I don't use their name or nothing, but if it was about them, I definitely have sent it to a client and been like, "Hey, before I put this song out here, what do you think?"
Mm-hmm.
And kind of get their permission. But yeah, man, it's just, a different set of ears, a different set of eyes looking at something, that seems completely normal to you.
100%. So, So you said you're kind of trying to figure out the next steps with your music as far as like songs you want to release and all that. What, are you, I'm guessing you're hoping by the end of the year something will play out. Is that kind of the goal or?
Um, kind of. I'm really kind of just. I'm in the middle of trying to like open up my own business right now, and
Mm,
that's kind of going to help me with my funding of this.
mhm.
Um, and I'm thinking it's going to take a couple months to get it up and running.
Gotcha.
So I'm really kind of hoping a couple months after the baby's born. You know,
Nice.
the baby's born. Is supposed to be born in June. So I'm hoping. Going to try to hold him off. I'm supposed to play CMA Fest, and it's the week that he's supposed to come. So I'm like, boy, you better come before or after because I
Right.
want to play CMA Fest.
Right.
So, um, but I'm
Um,
hoping to get it going soon. But like I said, I don't want to rush the process because I want this to be better than the last. You know, I
mhm.
want to be climbing the ladder.
Yeah,
You know,
I feel that.
trying to do better.
I mean, or you could just go into labor while you're performing at CMA Fest. That would make all the headlines, wouldn't it?
Unforgettable. Okay, unforgettable.
Right? Well, if you if you are there or if you're there, I'll be hopefully doing interviews at
Mhm.
CMA Fest. So
Okay,
hopefully, I say that because funding is tight this year, so we're just trying to make it all work. So
I heard that, man. I heard that.
yeah. So outside of music, what do you like to get into? What do you like to do when you're not working or taking care of a kid or
Not working. um, I love horses. I really want to get back to that. That's why we wanted to buy some acreage. I
Mhm.
mean, obviously, I can't ride right now because I'm pregnant. But you know, after the baby gets here and things get a little more settled, I definitely want to get back to that. I really, I'm a cowgirl at heart. I love horses. My baby loves horses too, so I'm gonna have to get her a pony. Um, she's a girl after my own heart.
Yes, I
But
love it.
I like that. I like thrift shopping. I love to go thrifting. I'm a sucker for a deal. What else? What else do I like to do? I like to write music.
I dig it.
That's about it.
Fair, fair, fair. Now, was it always country music, or was there like a world where you would have been like a rock star or something, gotten into more rock type music?
I love ACDC. But I also love like Bread.
Yeah.
Like I love those old hippie bands. I've wrote more than just country music. I write blues quite a bit.
Yeah.
Um, just because I mean, who don't love the blues? I mean, who don't get the blues?
Hmm.
Um, I've wrote a couple of songs that are almost R&B. You
Nice.
know, um, I don't know. If I listen to a certain genre for a while, like I get on a kick where I'm listening to Teddy Swims or something, I will write a song that is in that genre. You
Nice.
know, so
Nice.
I try not to put myself in a box because you never know. I mean, I might write country and make a successful career out of that, and then some amazing blues person comes along that I really like, and I'll write music for them. Chris Stapleton does that. He writes music for all kinds of different people. And then he
Hmm.
still has his successful music career. And I'm totally for that.
Right. 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 And just kind of being flexible in that vein, like just being aware that the industry is changing every day, and most musicians aren't being pigeonholed to a specific genre anymore, where you could just
Mhm.
kind of make your music. Like you could sit there. I've seen musicians make straight up heavy metal music, and just because it had like a fiddle or something in it, it's like, nope, that's country music. And it's like, no, that is death metal music. I don't care what you say, you know?
Yeah.
So,
But I
yeah.
think it's good to have that creativity because you listen to some artists and all their stuff sounds the same.
Hmm.
And it's probably because they listen to all the same kind of sounding music and you just kind of get in a rut versus
Hmm.
if your mind is open and broad on all different kinds of music. I mean, you're more than likely going to be able to write different kinds of music.
Yeah, I feel it. So who are you listening to right now? Who's kind of got your ear?
Oh, I definitely love Teddy Swims.
Oh.
I really like Teddy Swims. I like a powerful voice.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I love Chris Stapleton. He's like 75% of my playlist for like when I play shows and I have to do covers. Who else? I'm not really into to too much pop. Sabrina Carpenter, Taylor Swift, and all that. That's just never really been my deal.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not Teddy Swims and like Chris Stapleton, I'm probably listening to Keith Whitley or something. Just classic country. It's what I like. I don't know. That's about it. I'm pretty basic.
I feel it. I'm all about the Teddy Swims. Like he's got my ear right now, and and honestly, when I first heard of him, I wasn't a huge fan of his music, but then I heard "Lose Control," and I lost control. I was like, "Holy shit! Okay, that's different," So
he put out a song with another country artist. It's called "Something About a Woman."
Mm-hmm.
I was listening to that one earlier today, and it's pretty freaking good. It's pretty good.
Nice.
He's just the right amount of soul, blues, and upbeat. That if you like any of those three, you can probably like him.
Mm-hmm.
He's got such a soulful voice. Like I said, I'm just a sucker for a soulful voice.
Oh yeah, for sure. I feel it. So, I don't want to keep you here too much longer because it is Friday night. If anybody wants to check out your music, shows, social media, all that fun stuff, where's the best place to find you?
I have a website. You can actually go to my website and you can find whatever social platform is best for you, including where to listen to me at. It's called TaylorAnnHarris.com. And the Ann is spelled with an E. So TaylorAnnHarris.com. But you can find me on all streaming platforms, Apple Music, iTunes, all that, Spotify, all that. I'm most active on Facebook. I'm kind of old school.
Yes.
So I mean, if you wanna talk to me or message me, you can message my Taylor Harris music page, and I'll probably get back to you. I'm pretty on top of that. I'm pretty real about it. So
you're pretty good at Instagram too. You're pretty on top of that one. So
Instagram is just a whole nother animal, man. I don't know. Algorithm is funny to me. It's like, I don't know how to get it to really grow. It's been such a slow grow. I don't know.
It's been a slow grow, but for whatever reason, Facebook has just like I get remittance checks from Facebook that are pretty good because I post like a whole bunch of videos and all that stuff on there.
Yeah.
So like that's pretty good because when Facebook was like really growing, we took advantage of it and we were able to grow pretty quickly with them. But for whatever reason, over the last like year and a half, I've just kind of fallen off a cliff on Facebook. So
I actually give a shout out to Rock and G Entertainment. He broadened my horizons on how to grow my Facebook because I had like 700 followers. It wasn't going anywhere. I got like 3 likes because like all my people are my friends. I have a personal account that they follow me on. So it's like they're not worried about that page. They follow me on my other one. And he started showing me how to grow this. And I ain't gonna tell all his secrets. You got to reach out to him if you want to know. But he's a great guy and he just helped me out. Didn't ask me for nothing, just wanted to help me. And we've got almost 6,100 followers now on Facebook.
Yeah.
And like I said, and like you were saying, I make money off of it now.
Yeah.
I never thought that you could make money off of social media. That was completely foreign to me. But I hit a spike the other day. I'm just gonna go ahead and brag. I made $500 in 28 days. That's pretty freaking good for Facebook,
I'm not going to brag about what I was going to say. I was like, I just got my remittance check from Facebook this morning and it was $5 and I was freaking ecstatic about that.
Hey, but it's money that you didn't have, and and I could never have done that, you know, and that actually helped me out. I was like in a pinch. I needed some money for some
Yeah.
like medical debt, and like that was the money that I needed, man. And it's like, you know, I never could have done that without Rockin' G Entertainment. He's a
Hmm.
really great guy. I can't talk enough about him. He's a great guy, and he don't get enough credit for what he does.
Right. That's awesome. That's great that you've kind of cracked the code on Facebook. Maybe I need to do what I'm doing on YouTube and Instagram and try and reintegrate it into Facebook a little bit more. So
Reach out to him, friend him. He's such a good source, and he's like I said, he don't ask nothing of you. He just really wants to help people.
nice.
Um, and you know, I don't want to share his secrets on video right now, and that's why I'm not going to tell you. But you know, I mean, he's a great guy. He's a great,
Nice.
just
Awesome.
a good old Southern boy.
I feel it. That's sweet. I love it. But once again, I really appreciate you taking the time to sit down and chat with me. It's been an absolute blast. We'll have to do it again, either CMA Fest in person or when you
Yeah.
got your new single ready to go, and sit down and do it again.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Once again, thank you everybody for tuning in, and we will catch y'all later.